Alrighty, so lastly, we will have our last API endpoint for our authentication. So this one will be similar to our WebAuthn user make credential post API endpoint, where we will verify the credentials sent back to us from the iOS app or our client. Okay, so let's start off with auth session routes dot post instead, and just authenticate, request in, and return a response. Okay. All right. So first thing we need to do is to grab the challenge from our server. So we'll do a guard let challenge encoded equals our request. Get it from a session data. Just copy that. All right. And then we will encode the challenge. So make this challenge data base 64 encoded from our challenge encoded. Actually, why is it not completing? Hopefully, yeah, should be fine. Else, there's an issue, throw an abort, bad request, and we'll do a status of, not status, I'm sorry, reason. Error encode retrieving and encoding challenge from server. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's because we haven't used the challenge yet. All right. Okay, so moving on. All right, so next we have to delete the challenge from the server for safety protocols. Okay, equals nil. All right. And then unlike the main credential endpoint, we don't need to reference a user for login since we have an ID for reference in the response back from the client when it gets decoded. So we'll decode the following. So do authenticate, let authentication credential, create an instance of that, equals try request dot content back from our client decode, and we will do that with a type model authentication credential. If you look over here, this is from our WebAuthn library. If you want to look a little bit more into the model, how it's structured. Okay. All right. So now we have our authentication credential. We can check the credential with our database. So we'll do guard let credential equals try await. Right, and then we'll query from our WebAuthn credential query from our database. Okay, and then let's filter it. Okay, so filter from our user ID. Okay, let's see. Make sure check against our authentication credential .id URL decoded a string filter from there, and then with our user. Okay, this is so it loads the associated user model data with our credential, and then first result. Else, there's an issue, we throw an abort, unauthorized, and we'll do a reason, error, finding credential, WebAuthn, credential from database. Okay. All right, and then next we will verify the challenge and public key with the following. So let's do let verified challenge or authentication equals try request dot WebAuthn, and then we'll finish our registration or finish our authentication actually. Okay, and then we'll just have to fill out the parameters. All right, so first one will be our credential. So we get that, we fill it out with our authentication credential. Let's see, and then our expected challenge, it'll be a UINT8, and then fill that out with our challenge that we have from here. Hopefully that goes away since we used our challenge and filled it out. Okay, and then next thing we need is the credential public key, which is also UINT8, an array. And we will add the URL encoded base64 for our credential. Public key. Right, and this will be URL decoded. Okay, and then for our last parameter, credential current sign out, UINT 32, and we'll grab this one from our credential current sign count. All right, and I believe that should be it for this verify authentication. And then if successfully verified, we will update the credential current sign count and save the credential on the database with the new count. So we'll do credential dot current sign count equals an int 32 from our verified authentication. Let's see, new sign count, and we'll try to save it on our database. So try await dot save our database with the new sign count or current sign count. Okay, and then if all goes well, we sign in or log in the user and return our response back saying that everything went well. So response let's see, I believe it's status, yeah, dot okay. All right, and hopefully everything looks good. All right, so that's it for the authentication API endpoints. Lastly, we just have two API endpoints for signing out the user and deleting the users. But other than that, that should be it for our authentication side. Okay.